that same time period. We're very, very busy right now, but it's exciting.
Yep.
Great.
Things start to grow
Hey,
a little
Greg.
more normal.
Everybody.
Greg's with us.
That same time period.
And Faye, it looks like we are officially being broadcast live. So
Yeah, I see that message up there. Okay, so okay, to get started, Tom will be joining us later, and maybe Siri, hopefully. Okay, all of you got the minutes, I presume, from the April meeting that Joe sent out. Any additions, corrections to those minutes? Hearing none. Do we need a motion for committee minutes?
No, we haven't.
I don't think so. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, Jonathan, do you have an update for us?
Oh, Jonathan's not here.
Oh, Jonathan's not here. Yo.
I know he was doing some stuff today, a lot with the ESCO project, the Energy Savings corporate, whatever that stands for. But anyway, so he might be hung up in that.
Do you have an update, Joe?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I figured.
Yeah. So everything's official. The hard copies of the budget came out. I didn't breathe a sigh of relief until I actually saw it in black and white. But we, along with roughly a dozen other institutions, are down for approximately $15 to $16 million in pre-planning money. I'm sorry, detail planning money. So we will have money to spend as of July 1st for that. So I just want to double check with Jonathan about any particulars, but I'm envisioning it might be good to sometime later this month go ahead and issue the RFP. That way, and of course, we would, tactfully say, pending funding. You never know until you're actually spending it, but that we'll start to interview these firms in advance of July 1st, so we can get to work right away. So the Board of Trustees has permitted the Waynesboro Advocacy Committee to work with the staff to select a firm that will lead the design process. So we'll get that issued, and we'll start to look at calendars when people who participate in the search, when they're available to interview live. And I would imagine it would be the most logical thing to either, just depending on circumstances, and I'll leave this to everyone's comfort level, to either do it in person in Waynesboro or by Zoom, or a combination of both. So that's just something we can decide down the line.
So Joe, did you say that the board has approved our committee being engaged in that process, or is that going to be voted on at the next meeting, the May meeting?
Sorry, yeah, that's up. I'm sorry, got ahead of myself there. That'll be next week. They will be presented with a motion to.
Okay, that's okay. I just wanted to make sure I have had my orders right.
Yeah, it's all starting to run together, but
I understand. I totally understand. Well, that all sounds great. So yeah, a great sigh of relief that has that the budget has gone through and we look good to go. That's great.
And just incidentally as well, we're in good shape with our annual appropriation as well. So operationally, we'll be in good shape, and we'll have no problem absorbing the workload of a search as well as conducting the detailed planning.
That's great. That's great. Any questions for Joe on the budget? Greg, you have a sign ready to post?
We do.
Where is it? I want to see it.
No. Can't see it until May 19th at 2:05. Okay. So anyway,
okay.
That's the plan. We're going to go ahead and get it installed as soon as everyone's ready to do that and cover it up. And then on May 19th at 2 o'clock, we'll be inviting the press. We've invited local delegations, and Senator Hanger and Delegate Aboli have indicated they were planning to attend. Brief ceremony, just Joe or Tom giving an update from the museum, Mayor offering congratulatory remarks, and then unveiling the signs. So really short and sweet outside at the site of the museum. So
excellent. That's great. So are the committee is welcome to be there, I presume?
Absolutely. Mhm.
So, okay, good.
Yep. So 2 o'clock in Constitution Park. You'll
Okay.
see a big couple of tents set up, so you'll know where to go.
Okay, fantastic.
Mhm.
That's great news. Jonathan, welcome. And I think Joe gave us a budget update. It sounds like everything's on course. So I don't know if you need to add anything. You didn't hear what Joe said, but
Yeah, one quick question for Jonathan as our Virginia Certified Construction Officer. Is there any issue with submitting the RF or making the RFP public before July 1st so we can get a jump on interviewing people?
They're going to ask me to submit a budget request form on July 1st, so
All
they can. So then we can put it out pretty much on July 2nd. Once your responds to me and says it's okay, green light.
Okay, so we won't be we won't be able to actually put the RFP and start the search until July.
Yes, but there is nothing wrong with reaching out to architects and trying to drum up interest before the 1st of July, so that we can get as many qualified candidates in line as possible.
Okay. Oh,
so would that mean just sending out a notice to them that the RFP is coming?
Yes.
So just
we have a list.
Okay.
We have a list of people who are interested during the pre-planning study, so we can just send it out to all of them, and I'm sure it will spread quite quickly. There have been a number of firms that have been in touch over the pandemic with Jonathan and I, and so yeah, there'll be no shortage of people that will have interest.
Okay, cool.
And I know we've had at least one construction firm contact us, which I think I've passed all those on to you.
Yes.
Would they be on that list too, just to let them know what's going on?
Sure. I mean, I think that would be a nice courtesy. So we'll dig those out and let them know. Yeah, so we'll be looking for a professional firm, as the state calls it, which would essentially be an architecture firm to lead the project, and then they will be the one that will recommend the exhibit design team that they're going to partner with, as well as in the future any construction firms that might be relevant to the detail planning phase.
Okay, cool.
Okay, the planning teams, Joe, where are we with those?
Yeah, so that's just something I wanted to introduce to the group. Zach, if I could share screen, please. Basically what, let me see here.
You should have the ability at the bottom of your screen.
Okay. So basically, I want to take the initiative. Whoops. Come on now. Okay, so am I sharing screen yet?
Yes.
Okay, so I want to take the initiative to make sure the design teams know, that's both the architect and the exhibit design firm know exactly what we want. So what I'm proposing is to take the initiative, and we'll make this available when we're doing the interviews, just to make sure they know what they're getting into. What we want to do is to have 5 specific teams, with a 6th team essentially being Jonathan and I, that can float amongst the different teams. But I've broken the design process down, and this can be edited into 5 sections, which would include visitor services, building design, exhibits, science lab and green technology, and landscape design. When landscape design means not just landscape, but the integration of Constitution Park and the VM&H property. So it would basically be led by a staff member who isn't necessarily an expert in any of these topics. They may be, but they might not be. Their job is just to kind of play quarterback and keep communication going amongst the teams. And that's also going to be part of what Jonathan and I will do. So again, this is just shooting from the hip as far as composition, but we're basically looking at these 6 teams, with leadership being one of them. Doggone it. Phone was ringing. So basically we have those 5 sections in which we would have these various kind of subsections that they would be responsible for. And the architect might lead us, you know, in terms of maybe shifting some of this around or adding more categories. So as far as the composition, we have one staffer who's basically responsible for scheduling the meeting, sharing information, making sure minutes are taken, and to also be, you know, vocal in making sure that any design considerations that the Waynesboro Advocacy Committee and whatnot have determined is in the best interest of the museum, making sure that that message is put out there. But then we'll have people from the Waynesboro Advocacy Committee, people from both boards, as well as community members. We'll have the curatorial staff as sort of an advisory group that will be available for specific discussions as they pertain, say, specifically to the science lab, the exhibits, or what have you. So, you know, again, I just want to make sure that we're kind of organized before going into it. I just kind of noticed with the pre-planning that things were a little more free-form in who participated and what. And I would just like to maybe standardize it a little bit. So we're completely open to people participating, or if they, you know, want to, you know, just basically say we can sit on some meetings, they can do that too. Hopefully for each team, we'll get a group of people who can consistently stay with the group and help aid the design team in executing a design that is best for us, the institution, and the mission. So, so that's that. I don't know if anyone has any questions or comments on that. Hi, Tom. I don't know when you joined us, but basically we're talking about the idea of developing teams in advance. So that way, when we work with a architect and exhibit design team, we have people with a message in mind, specifically about what we want to look out for the best interests of the museum. So
yeah, I just joined a minute or so ago, so I just caught the end of that, but I think I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, that all looks good. That's a good idea. And then and those teams can shift depending on, you know, needs and so forth. I mean, we may end up pulling other people on as the process goes along.
I think that's true. And at the same time too, I just threw those names up there. Just, you know, these are people who've been active with the process so far. And if there are people, whether they're in the community or on a board or whatever, or some of our staff members who want to participate in a particular team, all volunteers are going to be welcome. And if somebody's already assigned to a team but wants to be on a different team, that's fine too. So, but we've got the commitment from the staff members to be team leaders.
Okay.
Maggie.
Okay, great.
Joe, can you spell my name correctly if you're going to put me on one of those things, please?
How about I do that?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Let's see here. Where did I put you?
Or just call me
yeah.
Maggie. That makes it easy.
I saw a misspelling of Lisa Merner's name too. You might double check that one.
Let's see here. Where did I put Lisa? I know she's in here somewhere. Well,
She was on the
nonetheless,
design team.
I will,
She's on the design team, I think.
there she is. M-O-E. Yes. Thank you, Tom. All right.
And if you're looking for additional recommendations, I guess, you know, I had the conversation with Matthew Heller from DMME. He expressed interest.
Yeah, I've got a DMME rep slated for the exhibits team.
Okay, I might have missed that.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So
And then also
I
Shenandoah National Park. Do we have somebody representing the park?
Yeah. Let me see here. Let me add them to the list.
Yeah, Joe, could you send us email that list to us, you know, so we can maybe give it some extra thought?
Yeah, I'm more than
Yeah.
willing to take recommendations on who might be part of these teams.
Okay. Yeah, and Carol Nash may have some suggestions.
Okay. I think I have
well.
someone calling probably because they can't log in.
Okay. So I think he's checking on whoever's calling in.
Faye, that's Gene. He's having some
Okay.
technical problems. I'm gonna duck out and check, try to get him on board.
Okay.
And I think Ryan can handle the
Yeah.
drive-through show.
Yeah, let's talk about the drive-through then at this point. So Ryan and Jonathan, you were both there. Tom and I were there. It was great fun. And I thought it went really smoothly. Not to mention the day was perfect, except for the wind. The wind
Yeah.
was a bit of a problem. But yeah, which of you want to report on the outcome of the drive-through?
So yeah, I'll be happy to sort of share the numbers. And yeah, I thought it went well. And like you said, the weather was perfect. So we had it from noon to 5, and we ended up with 63 cars and 163 people in those cars. And of that, we had $248 in donations. So the donations were optional, obviously.
Right.
But I think the most important thing was everybody that came through that I talked to at the sort of the last tent was very pleased, very thankful, very appreciative. So I thought we had a lot of questions about the branch as well. So what's the timeline? Where is it going to be built? So I thought that was great as well.
Yeah, I found everyone I spoke to in the couple hours I was there, all but one knew about the project, the Waynesboro branch, and were very excited about it. And as you say, had a lot of questions. But yeah, it was a very enthusiastic crowd. Hopefully we'll be able to do the next event, up close and personal, but we'll see how that goes. Jonathan, did you want to add anything? Or Tom?
Just to echo what everybody else said, is thought it was a success as far as getting the word out about the Waynesboro branch. Had some extra time to talk to the people walking by, and as soon as they found out that it was the Virginia Museum of Natural History, they really keyed in. They're excited about it. They'd seen a news article or a video. So Greg, some marketing is working.
Yeah.
They're knowledgeable enough to know that it's going to be in Waynesboro. So I think we're winning at that game.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I had a couple of good conversations with folks that just happened along the Greenway too.
Yeah, so did I.
And
I'm
how
very
about
curious.
the zip code data, Ryan? I know you were collecting zip codes. What did it look like in terms of how far people were coming for the event? Maybe he's not paying attention. I don't know.
We've had there's somebody jumping by both of our offices, I think, trying to get our attention.
Most everybody I spoke to was from Waynesboro or the Augusta County.
Yeah, me too. I talked to a woman who was a teacher at North River Elementary School, and that was about the farthest away I'd heard of, and she was real excited. She had actually not heard about the project, but somehow found out about the event, and when she heard about the project, she was all in.
Yeah. A fair number of the folks I spoke to were homeschoolers, parents. And they were very excited because, of course, they're always looking for places to visit. And it's kind of a similar, I think homeschoolers are one of our biggest clients down in Martinsville, right?
Yes, that is
growing.
true.
It's a growing sector.
We are essentially the science curriculum for them.
Right. Well, hopefully that'll be the same case here in this locality. Anything else on the drive-through?
You want to give Ryan another shot at the zip codes?
Yeah, Ryan, did we have zip code data? I asked her, and I think you were distracted.
Sorry. Yeah, it said security was calling, so I figured I better answer it. But
that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. So yeah, primarily it was Waynesboro. I'm going to send out the complete list, but it was we had a few outliers, Charlottesville, and one from Roanoke, surprisingly. But it was primarily Waynesboro. But I'll send that out as a complete list to the committee.
So 200 tickets were sold. Is that right?
It was 100 tickets. So we calculated 20 cars per hour is about what we can accommodate. So of those 100, we had 63 show up.
Yeah, that's too bad that, there were no shows, but oh well. Yeah. So moving on to the Wayne Theater lecture series. Tom, you want to give us an update?
I think since we last met, it may be that we've had 2 speakers.
Sounds
We
right.
had Kip Mumma talk about stream restoration in the valley. And then we had Dwayne Jones talk about parks and the next economic engine for Waynesboro. And I thought they both fit in well. Of course, it kind of transitioned from our curators talking about the exhibitry to more how, you know, maybe people could have a STEM related career in the case of stream restoration. And I thought Kip did a good job just talking about, you know, the opportunities for that industry and also how it might be reflected in some of our exhibits. And then, of course, Dwayne talked a lot about I guess you would say, synergism between the restoration of the South River Preserve area that's right adjacent to the museum, and then, of course, how the museum would interact with that and vice versa. So I thought they were well received. You know, I think the audience was up to over 20, if I remember right, in our April talk with Dwayne. So I think people are starting to come back out again. We still had a good online audience. I don't know the absolute numbers, but I think it was 140 or something like that for Kip, and I didn't pay attention to what Dwayne drew. So, and that's it for this year. We aren't going to have another talk until September, and we're now talking about who we would invite and what would the schedule look like for the coming year.
Okay. So nothing's been scheduled officially for the coming year.
Not yet.
No.
Yeah.
And we need to talk to the Wayne Theater just to make sure that they're comfortable continuing. So Tom, we have Carol had volunteered her services for lecture next year, but we still need to come up with a theme before we start to talk about specific titles and so forth. So I don't know if CCR wants to be part of that, or you know, bring a recommendation to this group, or you know, because you know, CCR is you know, a great local resource to help find and invite people to give the actual lectures.
Yeah, I think CCR does want to be part of that. I'm speaking on behalf of CCR, and Maggie's here too, so she can chime in. But I would think that we still want to be engaged, and it's an opportunity for CCR to, you know, tout the local support for these programs in the museum and other initiatives that we have going on too. And I know Jenna wants to continue to be involved. And
yeah, it's on the agenda for the next meeting. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Greg here too. Sorry.
That's okay. I'm fine.
Yeah.
So Lynn, I assume, would be an obvious connection too. Both he and Tom for having that conversation with them.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, and Greg and Maggie too.
Yeah. Right. All right. Anything else for Tom on the lecture series? All right, Joe, you have the VMNH Foundation and our committee, and I'm assuming you're referring to our working together on future fundraising plans. And
Yes.
I know the foundation was expanding their membership, or maybe not at this point. What is the status of the foundation board?
Well, I'll let Ryan talk about where we stand in terms of you know, number of foundation board members and slots that are open and so forth. However, I just wanted to make sure to give a refresher. Back in I believe it was 2019, we did draft a document and shared with the foundation, which basically gave the suggestion of, and I think this is still open to editing, whatever people feel is best, but basically to form an ad hoc, what we might call a branch campus committee,
Right.
which would be populated by two full members of the foundation board. And then we would have 7 people who are local who could help us make inroads into the community in terms of providing support, especially financially. So that would be an ad hoc committee of 9, but that number, we can make it larger if we want. It was just a number that was used. So basically, the good news is that the the requirements on the side of the foundation was that they would put this together and raise the $2 million contingent upon a significant gift from the state of Virginia. Sounds like we're well on our way. So even though the largest gift that we're looking for eventually will be the construction money down the line, but certainly being funded through pre-planning and now through detail planning, we're definitely within the queue to receive construction support. So we're basically in a situation now where at the one of the upcoming foundation board meetings, we should be discussing who would be those 2 foundation board members on that ad hoc committee, what the full size of that committee should be, or at least to have a minimum size to make it viable. And then we'll have to do some recruiting with the help of the Waynesboro Advocacy Committee, CCR, and other assets. So Ryan, what's the status of the foundation board right now? Oh, you're still on mute.
Oh, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Yeah, so the nominating committee recently met, and several nominations came in. We've added some additional board members. The maximum currently is 30. So we're going to be at that as of July 1st. But the plan is, as part of the Waynesboro committee, to have at least 2 members from that area. So currently we have Len Poulin. We also want to have another member from that area. And then the initial thought was the committee would consist of those 2 members and also a committee of 7. So it'd be a total of 9 members focusing on the Waynesboro campus. So that
you don't have another Waynesboro person yet, or Augusta County person?
Not yet. I was just verifying on the list here, but yeah, that's something we, obviously we'd want to get input on. I don't think the current nominating committee would sort of have that knowledge. That they'd be looking to this committee, hopefully, to get some nominations.
There were some nominations, I think, submitted in the last go round. Yeah. So where do those stand?
I think it was, the thought was to wait until closer to when we form the committee itself, the additional 7, to sort of form that all together. So
I want to be sure we don't jump the gun. I mean, there's nothing wrong with forming the committee, but you don't want to form the committee and not actually do something. So, what my analogy that I talked about with Ryan was the idea, like if we start to go and work on potential donors now, we might just, for example, maybe someone is very interested and they'd be willing to provide a $10,000 gift. But if we time it better when we actually have more product, detailed plans that provide a much closer look at what the final product, the final building or exhibit element or whatever the case may be, that may then be a $50,000 ask as opposed to a $10,000 ask. So
that's about the committee, but what about, aren't there vacancies currently on the board?
No, there's not on the board. They're maxed out.
Oh, they are. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but there will be people rolling off every year. So, there will be vacancies upcoming, and I think those should be filled at that point. So about 10 months from now with nominations, maybe about 6 or 8 months from now, that would be, I think, a better time to bring people onto that board that could serve on that ad hoc committee.
Okay, so the nominations that were requested back in, what was it, March or April or something like that, those were just for this ad hoc committee.
And Tom, just to verify, I was verifying the list here. We do part of the upcoming board members. They'll start their terms in July. So some of those they came from the recommendation. So I know you recommended Dr. Parrott.
Yeah.
That is it he or she? I'm sorry. He's coming on the board as of July 1st.
Oh, good.
Okay.
So,
does he know that? Because
yes,
he does know that. Okay, good.
Yeah, that's according to our notes. Yes.
So where is he from? Is he JMU or
Fishersville? He's the orthodontist in Fishersville.
Okay.
He has really good connections with the hospital crowd. He's actually quite a community supporter. I see Maggie nodding her head and Greg. So he's very, what do I want to say? Connected to, community support. He has a sign at the baseball stadium, and he does a lot to kind of contribute to the community.
He sounds like a great addition.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna,
and he's also younger, and of course, as an orthodontist, he sees all these families, right? And
Yes.
that's an audience that we really haven't, I think, developed well yet.
Tom, I'm going to
That's
be
great.
up in Waynesboro for the sign unveiling. So I'll be going up on the 18th to stay overnight because I have a morning Zoom session that I have to attend. Maybe we can set something up in advance where maybe I can go and introduce myself at a time that's convenient for him.
Yeah, that'd be great. I can set that up. He's a busy guy, but I can find a time for us to get together over a meal or something.
Should we invite him to he's probably busy, but should we invite him to the unveiling as well?
I don't think that's necessary. Yeah, he's aware of it, and he's got 4 kids, and they're all playing soccer and running around. So I know he's strapped for time mostly.
Okay.
Okay. So we're at the open discussion, old business items. Anybody have any other topics?
Have we reached out to the superintendent for the park yet? I know we talked about doing that. Oh, we did. Okay, maybe I missed that part of it.
Yeah, Joe and I and Jennifer had a Zoom call with him a month ago, and time's flying. But so yes, we've made that connection.
Great.
And Tom, while we have you, we're kind of getting back to the sign unveiling. In Greg's itinerary, which Zach Ryan and I looked at, and we think looks very effective. It basically, the original version had either me or you giving a few remarks and then unveiling the sign with the mayor. Frankly said, I think it would have a lot more impact coming from a board member, let alone the board chairman, than for me, whereas I can be there to, answer questions behind the scenes or provide further information. So if you agree with, you were planning on attending, right?
Yes, yeah, and I did respond to your email. Maybe you didn't see it, but I'm willing to do that as past board chairman.
Hey, that's
All
right. Yeah. Right.
Been a fast year, hasn't it?
2 years.
Well,
Indeed.
that'll be super.
Great.
Okay.
That's the only thing I had, Faye.
Okay, I think I might be locked up. Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Good.
You can. Okay, all of you all are locked, and I didn't know if that meant I was locked to you. But any case, any other items, business items, comments? It's been a nice, quick meeting.
Yeah, I
So-
personally, on behalf of the staff, just want to say thank you to all of you. I mean, this is a monthly meeting in the middle of the week, in the middle of the day, when it's really busy, and clearly we're about ready to, enjoy the fruits of the labor, here, starting with the sign unveiling, and then eventually in a month and a half with the RFP and the architects. So we couldn't have done this without the community and board support that you've provided. So thank you.
Well, we're back on track.
Yep.
Thanks to the funding. So that's great. And everybody's commitment has been really important. So thanks to everybody. All right. I guess we will be meeting again via Zoom on June 1st. And everybody get outside and enjoy this day. It's
Absolutely.
gorgeous.
I'll be circulating minutes after I share them with Faye, so you can look out for that.
Okay, I will. All right.
And
Thanks,
we're prepared.
everybody.
Sorry, one last thing. We are
meeting
prepared to
adjourned.
do a motion at the board meeting, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Joe has crafted the language. So yeah, we'll be
Right.
ready to do that. I'll send that. I think you were copied on that, Tom. Correct?
Yeah.
I
Yes,
think.
I was. I was just reminding myself about that.
Okay. Okay. Put it on the agenda. All right. Thanks, everyone. I guess the meeting can be adjourned.
Very good.
Thanks.
Thank
So
you.
long.
Bye-bye.
Bye.